Kevin Davis coming to you with another midweek motivation. I'm excited to share with you today some thoughts on responding or reacting. Leadership is influence. Influence is simply defined as the capacity to have an effect on the character, development, or behavior of someone or something, or even the effect itself. Leadership is not a title. As a matter of fact, you don't even have to have a title to be a leader. In reality, we're all leaders because we all, in one manner or another, are in some capacity to have effect on others. So when you think about that, one of the biggest ways that we influence others is through the way we communicate. In many communications, we choose to either react or respond. In my morning readings this morning, I was reading and the author really spoke to me from Proverbs 19 and 11. It reminded me of a great life lesson. Solomon said this. He said, sensible people control their temper. They earn respect by overlooking wrongs. He was basically saying that when we respond rather than react, we earn the respect of others, and through that respect, we can have a positive influence. There is a huge difference between responding and reacting. The way we choose to respond or react has a great impact on the influence that we have, which has an effect on others. It affects our relationships, it affects our leadership, it affects all that we do by the way we respond or the way we react. Bob Proctor said it very well when he said, when you react, you are giving away your power. But when you respond, you are staying in control of yourself. Zig Ziglar used a story of going to the doctor and getting prescription of medication as a way of giving an analogy of responding and reacting. After receiving a prescription, then returning for a visit to the doctor, if the doctor says you've had a reaction to the medicine, you're probably going to think, oh no, that's not a good thing. We would think having a reaction to the medication is a negative. But on the other hand, you return for a visit. The doctor says you're responding to the medicine. You would think that's great and think responding to the medication is a positive. The same is true of our communications. We either react, which is a negative, or we respond, which is a positive. Reaction is simply an instant and an unconscious action triggered by a situation. So when we react, it is usually instinctual. It can be thoughtless actions and or words. Responding is slow. It is the result of conscious thinking. When we respond, it is measured. It is thoughtful actions and or words. Responding is always better than reacting. Responding builds stronger relationships because we choose our words more carefully and we act in ways that build, not destroy, leading to that positive influence. Reacting can build an environment of destruction. It can build an environment of fear and mistrust that leads to that negative influence. I'd like to share a personal story with you. I'm just going to be totally transparent with you today, and I'm going to tell you about one of my failures to respond and my choice to react. Several months back, I was getting ready to do a presentation. I was looking for my presenter, the little presentation remote control that I use to control my slides when I'm giving a presentation. Sometimes when I'm not using it, I take it out of my backpack and I put it on the counter so I don't have to carry it around, don't have to keep up with it or take a chance of losing it somewhere. There I was, getting ready to go out the door to give a presentation. I look into my bag, the presenter's not there. I go to the counter, it's not there. I immediately react to Pauletta, my wife. Let me note here, that was a wrong choice and a poor decision on my part. Typically, every time we react instead of respond, we look back and say that was a poor choice and a poor decision on my part. But I look at Pauletta and I react by saying, where have you put my presenter? Of course, her response is, I've not seen it. My poor choice of not keeping up with my presenter led me to saying to her, you've probably put it up somewhere and forgot where you put it. Maybe your mom moved it. Call her to see if she put it somewhere. In the meantime of me reacting and making poor choices, I became angered. And I know I'm sitting here thinking, but if we're all honest with ourselves, there's sometimes that when we react and it stirs us up and we get angry, even though we shouldn't. But I come angered at this situation. I began blaming everyone else for moving my presenter. If it wasn't you and it wasn't your mom, it must have been the kids. Just forget about it. I'll figure it out. Then I proceed to head out the door to my meeting. As I left, I made a phone call to a coworker asking them, would you stop on the way to the meeting and buy me a new presenter? Can't find mine, somebody's misplaced it, put it up, they've lost it. Which my coworker did a great favor. They picked one up and we were able to proceed with the presentation using a brand new remote. But there's more to the story. Since I'm just being totally transparent here and I'm going to share with you my failure, later that day, maybe even a few days after, I get in my backpack. And guess what I found? And there it was, my presenter. You're probably thinking the same thing I was thinking. Your wife or your mother-in-law, they found it, they put it back in the bag so you wouldn't know that they lost it. As much as that may have made me feel better about the way I reacted so wrong, that is not at all what happened. You know what it was? The presenter was right where I put it after a previous presentation. I had found a nice small pocket in my backpack that I didn't even realize was there. I thought, this is great. I don't have to worry about losing my presenter anymore. If I keep it there, I won't have to take it out of my bag when I'm not using it. And if I've not used it for a while, it'll always be in that pocket when I need it. That was all great until I forgot where I put it. When we make a choice to react instead of respond, it's usually bigger than just us. And it has an effect on others. My choice to react instead of respond in this situation, it created that pebble or that stone in the pond ripple effect. In this simple situation, I not only negatively affected myself and my attitude, I affected my wife, I affected other family members. I even had an effect probably negatively on a coworker that I had to inconvenience to go out of their way to pick me up a new presenter on their way to a meeting. Wow. As I share this with you, I'm really ashamed of the way I reacted in this situation. But I'm pretty confident that if we're all honest with ourselves, we've all had similar situations in which we're ashamed of the way we reacted when we should have responded. You know what? I plan to use this failure as a valuable life lesson to make me a better person, to make me a better leader, to make me a better in all areas of my life, to help me be more of a positive influence of others in the future. To be conscious of the importance of responding instead of reacting. Another favorite Zig Ziglar quote is, "It is not the situation, but whether we react negative or we respond positive to the situation that is important." Life comes at us fast, and we often react without thinking. James, in his epistle in the New Testament, gives us some great advice on how to respond instead of react. He said, you must all be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to get angry. So our application here is simple. Be a good listener. Think before you speak and be slow to get angry. Thomas and Jefferson, he had a great saying about controlling your anger. He says, when angry, count to 10 before you speak. If you're very angry, count to 100. Following this advice, you will create winning results and you will build great relationships by responding instead of reacting, creating a positive influence on others. Leadership is influence. Influence is the effect that we have on people's attitudes, behaviors, character, and other such things. I trust this midweek motivation has inspired you, that it has equipped you, and it has motivated you to realize the importance of responding instead of reacting, and the effect that it has not only on you, but also the others and who you have influence. I want you to have a great remainder of the week. May God bless you until next week when we come to you again with another midweek motivation.